this point. Now, the SA Cane Growers Association says it has incurred 84 million rand in damages due to the recent unrest in KZN. Now, this is also threatening thousands of rural jobs in the sugar industry. And according to the association, this will then worsen if their request for immediate financial relief is not met. To talk more about this, I'm joined now by the chairperson, Andrew Russell. Mr. Russell, thank you for your time and good morning to you. I think the repercussions and consequences of those unrest we saw both in Gauteng and KZN still continue. And your industry was not spared at all. 84 million rand in just losses. Take me through how grim that picture looks at this point.
Yes, good morning, Tumelo. During the unrest in the province, we had more than 500,000 tons of sugarcane burnt. That was had a value of over 300 million rand. But fortunately, we have been able to mill a lot of that cane. But as you know, sugarcane is a biological product and it decays. And there's over 135,000 tons of damaged cane, which has been now rejected by the sugar mills. And that cane, as you said, is worth 84.5 million rand to those growers, many of whom are small-scale growers. In fact, 38,000 of those tons belongs to small-scale growers who are most at risk of not recovering the revenue lost, especially revenue of this magnitude.
And speaking of those small-scale growers, Andrew, I mean, most of them, if not all, seem to not have insurance at this point.
Yes, many of the small-scale growers don't have insurance, and even those farmers who are insured, the Sasria and Growcane insurance companies are refusing to pay for cane that was burnt prior to the closing of the mills, and so that amount is also included in that total.
When we talk about your engagement with government, have you engaged with them, number one, and what's been their response in just terms of bringing some relief to the sector?
Yes, absolutely. We've engaged with government on a number of levels. We were privileged to host the PPC, one of the parliamentary portfolio committees, who did an on-site visit last week, and we were able to show them the scale and the extent of the damage. So we have engaged with the PPC. We're engaging with the Department of Trade and Industry, as well as the IDC, the Industrial Development Corporation of South Africa, whom we're hoping to raise some finance for directly for the growers.
And I'm sure this is not only to benefit the growers, right? It's also to benefit those who've lost their jobs, those who still stand to lose their jobs. And when we talk about that, what's the estimation here in terms of job losses, and how long do you think it would take to rebuild this sector?
Well, the sugar industry does employ a significant number of people, as you well know. There's over 1 million livelihoods that depend on the sugar industry in total. Many of those are small-scale growers and also 80,000 farm workers. So there is risk to those jobs. And if that urgent financial relief isn't realized, then many of those farmers will go out of sugarcane production because they just can't afford to maintain their crops. They've lost a whole year's revenue.
Yeah. Any message that perhaps you may have for cane growers at this point, Andrew, who may be not only just discouraged, but maybe don't want to pursue this particular sector anymore because of just the challenges that they're facing right now? What would you say?
Well, we're working with the Department of Trade and Industry and the Department of Agriculture on a master plan for the sugarcane value chain, and we're in the process of bringing that into being. There's a very bright future for the sugar industry if you're able to hang in and survive these medium-term setbacks. You know, we were severely impacted by the COVID virus. We were permitted to carry on as a primary agriculture. We were permitted to carry on during the pandemic last year, for which we're very thankful, but it's had a severe impact. And now these latest riots and destruction and arson of sugarcane and the threat to the sugar mills that process our cane, they're very real. But if we can overcome those setbacks, there is hopefully a brighter future for the sugar industry. And I would just encourage the growers to get hold of their local SA cane growers representatives and find ways to bridge this short-term gap. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you so much for speaking to us. SA Cane Growers Association Chairperson Andrew Russell taking us through just the reality right now for small-scale sugarcane growers, also just further committing themselves to coming up with interventions, working alongside those sugarcane growers as well as government to reach some sort of intervention.